I think they are in totally disarray because they know that Alessoti is the only governor in the southeast that is ready to fight them and is ready to fight them to the end. What is your take as regards Alessoti? Purchasing
that's a real governor of a state that is 100% full of Igbo bloods. The Abia people, the Abia state, that region or community, various communities from Abia, Ibeku, Ibere, Mba, and many people over there, Ikuano, this area, Oboro. These are fully Igbo blooded. And unlike what I said in the past, that the governors that are, joining hands with the Fulani Janjaweeds to cause insecurity in the southeastern Nigeria are of Fulani blood. So what I'm seeing here is a really Igbo-blooded governor who is a great uncle to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu of Ibeku. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu hails from Aviaruku community. The Ruku community is in Ibeku. And you can see how serious Alessoti is fighting or preparing to actually combat insecurity in Abia State. Very soon, Alessoti is going to curb or put insecurity, Fulani Janjaweeds, bloody criminalities in Abia State on check. And from there, they will all scatter all over Igbo land, where their grave will be scattered as well, all over our forest. Time is coming because in my own village, Umuawonando, Fulani followed the swampy area of Agalem and into the home of one man nicknamed, I don't know the name they gave him. They shot the wife. Immediately the wife was about to supply him with food, to pass food for him on the table. Some persons just rushed them in the parlor, shooting the wife to death instantly, abducting his husband, and extorted from her husband, 7 million naira. You see the insecurity in my own village, which is the least community in Anambra East local government area. Very remote place where I come from. Without electrification in 1980s, we actually survived. And it was just of recent that Anambra State government electrified my communities. What am I trying to say here? We are in the remote place. How come about these people located Nando? How did they locate Nando? And the very family they shot today, they come from the people that are second to the kingmakers in Nando. Ikenga Nando. Ikenga Nando is Umuawo Nando. Ibariamu, no. Obasioyo, Abube, they are all 2 villages that are bordering Umuawo. Today, that man's wife is no more. Give it up to insecurity orchestrated by Fulani Janjaweeds. And again, how do you think that the Fulanis located this man and his compound? There are many informants lurking around Igbo communities. That's why Soludo is saying that barely 75% of kidnapping, abduction, and killings, assassination in the southeastern Nigeria are caused by the Igbos. Can you tell me that those Fulani Janjaweeds could actually know who the man is before shooting him? There was an insider. There must be an insider. So what am I trying to say? Alessoti is a giant fighting crimes. Fulani Janjaweeds, killer headers, and the federal government, connivance, with Fulani headers, annihilating, killing, and unaliving the Igbos across southeastern Nigeria. Alessoti has stood, tall on his feet by putting down this initiative of raising funds to procure or secure arms in Abia State, and you can see successfully he has achieved it. They have raised money. Those funds should be used amicably and judiciously so that they will have upper hand against Fulani killer headers in Abia State. Alessoti has put, material resources down, the mechanisms to actually combat Fulani, insecurity or criminalities, bloody one in Abia State, and nobody should ask him why. Why? What do I mean? We know that he has veto power to do whatever he wants. Yes, he has veto power to secure his states. You states in the south, in the southeast, southwest, you shouldn't be waiting for federal government all the time to help you. Stand up on your feet and help yourselves. I mean the state governors. You should start or learn from Alex Soti's initiative. He is doing the right thing. He's not just standing there so stagnated and dormant for federal government to come and fight for him. Other governors of the southeastern Nigeria, south, south, and southwest, they should follow the blaze, follow the trail blazed by Alex Oti. It is the high time Anambra State, Imo State, and the rest of southeastern states should stand on their feet and follow the trail told by Alex Oti. Alex Oti is the man under Labour Party political platform. He won an election and they surprised the whole Nigerian political idiots because they have actually perfected the plan to rig Abia for APC. But the INEC returning officer, Nena Oti, said no. 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 This time around, it's not going to work out for you people. And he denounced, she rejected, she denounced, she renounced. What? Bribe. Staggering huge amount of naira in billions. He said, take it back. I don't take it. I'm not going to use it. I have my children. Well, if in the future, this amount of money begin to yield bloody repercussion in her family, she rejected the money. And today, he released the accurate result that the choice made by the Abians are the right choice of the people. That's why they chose Alex Oti. And today we are seeing this kind of development of social amenities and infrastructures in Abia State, both employment and amenities wise. I'm telling you, Alex Oti is working. This time around, I know that the Fulani Janjaweeds are scampering for safety. They should wait there until it gets to them. They should wait or run. But if they run, it is too late for them. They couldn't run too far because they are all going to have slugs in their various brains. I'm telling you, lead is too hot. They should wait so that their graves and dirty tombs will be scattered all over Abia Forest.
Okay, but we've seen that they were able to raise 3.4 billion naira, for the Trustfund, security initiative. Although just like you said, other Southeast governors should take you to this move that Alex Oti is taking, this vision. And at the same time, Enugu governor now is begging Oti for partnership. He said what? He said so that when the Fulani's headmen run from Abia, because you share the same border, they should not run to Enugu. Do you agree? But a lot of people have come out and cast, Peter Mba. They said you are taking in Fulani, your government. You are the ones now coming out to cry for Alex Oti for partnership. What's your take as regards?
There is a cry of a dying man. When you see a man that is dying, he normally groans, moans in pain. That is the kind of wailing that is coming out from Peter Mba. The wails of the hopeless. A hopeless man that actually denied his Omona, his kinsmen, peace. He shall be wailing even until the middle of night, darkness of night. Peter Mba shall be wailing because he actually turned his back on the reality, thereby embracing unjustified companionship with the Fulani headers. I'm telling you, he is wailing, and he will be wailing and wailing and wailing, and all his weeping noises shall be heard all over the forest of Idago, where Fulani Janjaweeds, went and disalived many Igbo women, raping many, putting all of them to death. I'm telling you, a wailing that is going to be sounding and echoing in the forest of Milk Hill, Enugu town, major town, the coal city. I'm telling you, it's a wailing. It is resounding all over the forest of Milk Hill. The wailing of Governor Mba, who actually denies the Enugu people the security needed. He forced himself there. That's why he could not do the needful. And if they allow the Labour Party, gubernatorial faithful, I don't think he's going to just give them this kind of cheapish or monkish governance. I'm telling you, the right person to have been there was the Labour man. The Labour Party gubernatorial faithful was actually assassinated and his body was burnt to the stake. You see the kind of wickedness, brutalities perpetrated by these governors in the southeast, all these political dirty idiots that are bent on killing their brothers and sisters as a result of, let me say, irrelevant politicking. It is due to that I'm telling you that he will be wailing and be wailing and be wailing until wailing, weeping, whips him into crying, and wailing at least will lay him on the road towards his breakthrough.
From northern governors, emirs, and he resisted them. Another one came from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He resisted Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that he doesn't want anything and he's not in any alliance with any Fulani, and he want to run this Abia state. So, name them. Are you talking about Muifru? Are you talking about Topu Zodima? Are you talking about Soludo? Look at Soludo.
So these Fulani elders and criminals, perpetrating evil acts as against, killing people on their farms, destroying their properties and what have you in Abia State. But we've seen the Fulani now, they are crying bitterly. They said Alex Oti has vowed or is using the ESN, to attack them. What is your take as regards?
Attack. And that is why we have somebody like Alex Oti as the governor of that state. He's not in any alliance with anybody. He doesn't have any godfather. We have continued to check his record and monitor his activities as governor in that state. And we discovered that he's the only governor in the eastern part of the country currently now that does not have any link with any Fulani emirs, Fulani leaders, or Fulani political class, or Fulani kingmakers, whatever you might call them. This is a man the Abia people came out, wholeheartedly fought for. And at least we know that at a point during that election, a gubernatorial election in Abia State, that a woman sacrificed his life for Alex Oti to emerge. And now that Abians are breathing some level of leadership, breathing fresh air of leadership, even though we are still looking at Oti's antecedents to do more, there's massive resistance to that for anything to stop him from doing his work. You can see the kind of pressure that is coming from the presidency and from everywhere, and he resisted it, meaning that he stood alone and took that leadership. So from that, he has what it takes to resist any influence of any agenda, Fulani agenda in that state. And the infiltration we are seeing currently in that state, as we are talking to you presently, we are going to hold Benjamin Kalu, the deputy speaker, responsible. We are going to hold Ojiso Kalu, responsible. We are going to hold every one of them. We know that I have been signaling, opening up the Fulani channels in that state. And can such thing actually happen in the north, in any part of the northern state? No, it cannot happen. They restrict their this thing to their religious belief and to their political class. Then why would we always now open to something that the whole world is against? Let them go and do their ranching in their respective states. And coming to Abia State, you are killing people. And look at what happened in a place like Mpa. Look at what is happening in Obingwa. And these are people that you cannot, just take for granted. And any day there's going to be a serious uprising. They're going to turn this situation, to just something Nigerian government and Nigeria as a whole, including the North, will not be able to believe. The Abians are not joking. Everybody is angry in the North. Every youth, everybody, as I can tell you, because that is the headquarters of the IPOB leader. That's where the IPOB leader himself, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, came from. And that state belongs to God. It is called God's own state. And we don't want any thing, that will disrupt the process of leadership. We are trying to observe whether actually Alex Oti will offer. But from what you are seeing about Alex Oti gradually, I think he's moving towards that direction. We had a pressure from northern governors, emirs, and he resisted them. Another one came from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He resisted Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that he doesn't want anything and he's not in any alliance with any Fulani, and he want to run this Abia state. So name them. Are you talking about Muifru? Are you talking about Topu Zodima? Are you talking about Soludo? Look at Soludo. He came out recently and said that the Yanadua family promised me governor. You know, the other man said, you know, Abba Kyari made me governor. So you can see the link. You can see how these guys are, you know, undergoing pure political conquest against the Easterners. What you're seeing is there. What you're seeing these governors are, you know, are planted by these people, so that when they carry out their nefarious, activities of, invasion, conquest, ethnic cleansing, extermination of the indigenous people, they will not be able to talk, and that is what we're experiencing now. Apart from Oti, who has set it up, structurally, that he know where to press, the button to press, what to touch, and there will be action in that regard. So the Fulanis are crying, and they will continue to cry. Abia State is not a place for them at all, and can never be a place for them. And ESN was founded in that state, and that is where ESN, will see the last thing to happen in that place, because Mazin Nnamdi Kanu's return to Abia State will be something that has to be condoned of any footstep, any form of footstep, that has to do with Fulani, S-men, bandits, jihadists in that state, will be totally wiped out, and it's ongoing, unchecked. Yes, I can tell you, ISN is unstoppable in Abia State. Nothing can stop them. And I want, even though Alex Oti is planning to, establish some common of, forest guards or whatever it is, he's trying to do at this point in time. Okay, it's commendable, but I can tell you, within the space, the vacant space, Abia communities and forests, the ASN has done, some jobs that, when you look at it, you begin to wonder, how sophisticated these people are. But the fear is that, these people have stepped up a little bit. They are using some level of applying a digital currency. They are also using drone. They are also acquiring more sophistication, from what information we are getting. But I can tell you, some level of the leadership of ESN, has already mapped out strategy, to take them out completely, right from the Abia State down to Otukpo, down to Kogi State, down to all the Biafran territories, and that is what they are doing. Forget whether the governors are inviting them or not. They have been trained and prepared, and that is the only mission why they were created. So they are created to make sure that no Fulani is able to be allowed inside the Biafran forest, and that is what it is. And I think, to an extent, Alex Oti understand the need for that, and the reason why it was created. It has become a global thing, a global joy. Everybody is celebrating Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, for that foresight, and for understanding, for that revelation. Including the governor himself, they may not come up and tell you, but down inside him, imagine the situation where Mazin Nnamdi Kanu never foretold what was going to happen. And imagine the situation now, and because these governors you are seeing now, they've already compromised, and that is why they are not popular. Nobody is listening to them. All of them will fail in 2027. I can tell you that they will not have anything to do. You understand? Because Mazin Nnamdi Kanu has become law and order, and anything he says is final, and that is what it is now. And ESN is spreading in terms of training, in terms of expertise, in terms of intelligence sharing, in terms of network, in terms of handling of modern sophistication and modern warfare arms, to make sure that the jihadists does not in any place have anything to do with any part of the Biafran land.
Okay, but according to the report, the Fulani are saying that what Alex Oti, he said, since the police and the Nigerian military cannot do their job diligently by by tackling, or these Fulani elders of causing mayhem in the southeast, or in Abia to be particular, that's why he's using this ESN fight against them, and that from their intelligence report that ESN just recruited 50,000 ESM member, and at the same time, at the same time that they even just got new weapons to fight them. What's your take as regards?
Yes, so the news went viral, and we got to know that because it has to do with a lot of intelligence, and which we will not be able to open up. There, there are people who has already gone to Russia for training. Some of them are already in Israel for training, and some of them are already in US for training, and some of them are already in the parts of the world for training. They are undergoing training because we don't know what is going to happen in the next 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and just like Israel as a nation, we are prepared, and we are preparing for the next generation, and that is what it is. The Eastern Security Network, is just the main purpose is to stop jihadists in the entire Biafran land. So the 50,000 recruitment is a welcome development, and you can see that the reason why a lot of Biafran youth are distancing themselves with any association with the Nigerian security, police, army, custom, and other. Most of them are enrolling to defend their father's land for the love of their fatherland, and that is what is happening. And you can see the massive result we are getting. It will be very difficult because they have vowed that, of course, that's the red line. They should know. The Biafran land is the red line. I think they are getting the message gradually. You can see what happened in Benue communities. You can see what happened in Delta State. They're everywhere. The ASN is even in Edo State currently now. Somewhere between the boundaries of Auchi and Asian, within those forests. But a lot of people will not tell you, who they are. But we are getting information about their activities. And remember too, there are a series of forces, Biafran forces. There's Biafran Liberation Army. There's so many of them. They are also doing well and making sure that this thing does not get to a point where it will become a challenge. We chase them to Frontal Jalon at the end of the day. There's no two ways about it.
Okay, and lastly, we've seen other governors, they don't come out to speak, against this Fulani when they create mem there in the southeast. But Alesoti has been the only governor that's confidently come out to talk against this Fulani invasion there in Abia and in southeast in general. But do you think that Alesoti, with what he's doing now, do you think he can win 2027 election?
Of course, we do not need the presidency for him to win. Or do we know? Sure about that? Yes, of course, I can tell you. He has the network, he has the wherewithal, he has the resources, he has the manpower, he has the structure, to continue. Aluta continua. And look at his man also is in the presidency already, talking about P2B, and you can see the swelling, the popularity is swelling in the north, and from what P2B Alexoti is already doing in Abia State, there's nobody that will come and challenge him. You are not doing well. So it will be difficult to unseat him, and it is difficult to go against over 30 million people in Abia State. I can tell you that it will be very difficult. So his second-term position is guaranteed in that party or wherever he's going to go. But I'm sure he is not going to APC.
Well,
I can never go to
APC. They are ready to fight. Olesoti for APC, give APC back to Abia State.
The Igbo youth has already told Bola Ahmed Tinubu that the governors and the political leaders, actors in the eastern part of the country is already deceiving him. They can be there with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but without no followers. So how do you rectify that? You call yourself a leader without followers, and that will be very significant when the 2027 election begins. That when he will know now that the Igbo people are not smiling, and they can never smile, and that is what it is in Abia State, precisely. God's own state, the only God's own state in the world, in Nigeria, the first state in Nigeria, yes, and that's what it's been called. It's God's own state, and we will not allow any form of elements of Fulanis or whatever, politically or otherwise, to begin to showcase whatever they think they have. At the end of the day, the bulk of the matter stops right there in the northern part of the country, not even in the middle belt, not even the...
And of course, the governor of Abia State, Alex Oti.
Funds raised at this event will be prudently applied in the procurement of necessary equipment.
The event themed Building a safer Abia is the first of its kind and aims to make the state uninhabitable for criminals and threats to public safety.
This launcher is in line with the provisions of the Abia State Security Trustfund Law 2024, which empowers the state to set up a specialized framework for mobilizing, managing, and deploying resources in support of our security infrastructure across the state. With the proceeds of this launch shall help finance. We are also planning to invest generously in technology tools and systems that will enable us to either quantify crime before execution through tech-driven intelligence data or track the criminal.
Corporate organizations, banks, and residents pledged hundreds of millions of naira towards the trust fund. Governor Oti reiterated that while lawful force is necessary, long-term security will also depend on social investments to uplift communities and prevent crime.